Hey guys, Thunderhead Gaming here. We're going to be continuing our good or food guide, and we're gonna pick up where we left yesterday, which is we're going to be starting the wind Neptunes, and we'll be finishing the light and dark ones. So let's get started. Um, Wind Fairy, Aileen. So she has a 330% multiplier on her first skill, 400% on her second skill, which is a heal and cleanse, and third skill is a 690% multiplier. It has a similar effect to Brandia's third skill, in which for every harmful effect on the enemy, the damage is increased by 30%. So her base stats are kind of low in terms of attack because she has 604 attack at 6-star max, and HP wise she has 7,905. So Brandia is considered one of the lower tier Nat 5s right now because we don't need her to do that much damage. And in my opinion, the first two skills of Brandia are a lot better than Aileen's first two skills. So if you're not gonna build a Brandia, or if you're building a Brandia and you don't really want to use her that much, then you probably wouldn't want to use Aileen either. Plus, Water Kung Fu Girl pretty much does a job better at the moment. So yeah, in my opinion, she's not worth it. Next up is Ralph. Ralph back then had a bug on his third skill, and it attacked multiple times, and then it could like kind of one-shot your team if he got to move, and he was one of the most OP monsters back then. But once the bug was fixed and the issue was solved, he's not that good anymore. So his first skill is a 370% multiplier, which gives attack speed if you crit. Second skill gives a 50% increased chance to crit and has a 520 multiplier. And third skill, basically what it does 440% multiplier on your main target, and then after that it does 235% multiplier to all the targets. So to the main target it's like 675, but to all other targets is 235. So in my opinion, this is not that good. So if you really want to use him, you probably want to go Rage, Will, and you use it together with Galleon, but I don't see why you would want to use him in the first place. Attack rate damage attack is the build that you would want to build him. Oh, for Aileen, you probably want attack rate damage attack as well, and probably Violent is the most optimal because you want to use her third skill as much as possible. Next up is Shannon. She's extremely OP for beginner giants. She has a glancing, AoE slow, and attack debuff and attack buff and defense buff for 3 turns. She's really good for giants. How you ruin her usually will be Despair. I prefer speed HP, but if you have a pretty fast burner, you can do defense HP, or even triple HP with some decent speed substats. Her base speed is pretty high with 111, and she has pretty decent base defense, but her low base HP makes it a little bit hard to ruin her effectively. So yeah, Despair will help the first few stages because of the stuns, and you just want her to have her buffs up as much as possible. Don't 6-star her in my opinion, because I feel like she's kind of wasted once you've passed the Giants era and you can speed clear Giants, then you don't need her anymore. I never use her anymore, mine's 5-star, so yeah. Next up is Rakaja. I think that she has very high potential in Raid, normal Raid, and the Wind Element Beast. So his first skill has basically it's a slow. Second skill is a stun that increases damage according to defense. And third skill is a 40% heal on a 3-turn cooldown when maxed. So pretty much how the third skill works is it heals 40% of all allies times the amount of allies alive divided by the amount of total allies that you brought into the fight. So if you had 4 alive and you brought 5 in total, what happened is it will heal 40% times 0.8, so which is 32%. The less amount of allies you have remaining, the less amount it will heal. So basically, I think a 40% heal on a 3-turn cooldown is pretty good for Wind Beast, because it will heal 20%. That's a lot higher than what Bella could heal, or it's like on par with Praha, etc. So yeah, for normal raid, he has a slow on first skill, and you can ruin him double Nemesis Revenge on frontline. Defense HP. It would probably work as a burst healer since Colleen is kind of derpy when it comes to healing. So yeah, he's probably pretty decent as a monster. Next up is Gamir. So Gamir's first two skills are exact same as the water and the fire one. So the only thing is his third skill. Basically what happens is the lower amount of HP you have, the higher attack power. So it's like a budget Trevor, but his base stat is 790 attack, which is decent, and 6,915 HP, which is extremely low. Basically he will not be taking a hit, so the passive probably will not kick in. Plus Trevor is self-buffing and has damage reduction, so pretty much you'll never be using this monster, and don't build him. If you really want to build him, probably something like Violent Blade or Violent Will attack or damage attack. You need protection from him, like Chandra, Chloe, or Hodam. Ramagos. Okay, so this is an interesting monster, as in for early game he's decent, for mid game he's pretty bad, and for late game he's decent again. A lot of people say he's like noob trap, but I think that he still has his place in the game. For early game, you ruin him triple energy, HP. The most important thing is his clean shot. What it does is you do to the enemy the amount of damage the amount of HP that you lost. So for example, you have 10k HP, and you drop to 5k, you would deal 5k flat HP to the opponent. And fun fact, if you're full HP and you use this skill, it does 10 damage. Anyway, so what happens is if you kill someone with this, you get another turn and then you can crouch. So for early game, again, as I said, triple energy, triple HP. For late game, you will want to use Vampire Nemesis triple HP with some decent resistance, and preferably some immunity to go with him. Nemesis makes it so that you can get more turns and potentially steal turns from the opponent healers, and Vampire makes it so that you can kind of control your own health and not let it drop by an extremely large amount, and only having Crouch as a healing option. So yes. Next up is Taharis. Taharis is pretty much a dot monster. He has base of 6,420 HP at 6-star max. So if you want to use him, I recommend leaving him at 5-star max and putting him in your beginner Giants team or beginner Water B10 team. Pretty much you would want HP Courier HP or Speed Courier HP if you have some decent HP. Speed on slot 2 will make it so that you will have faster dots, and HP on slot 2 will make it so that he doesn't die that easily. I don't think he's that good as a nuker, even though his second skill has a buff of attack and crit rate. His base attack is okay, but his multipliers are not that good. Next up is Linderman. So first of all, he's a support monster with 637 defense at 6-star max. However, all his skills are attack based, so they don't do damage. And he has a stun on all his skills, and I think the third skill is irresistible because I've fought the arena rival multiple times, and if he gets the skill off, I always get stunned, even with high resistance. So I don't think he's good. If you really have to build him, I would probably go Violent anything, Speed HP, and try to just be annoying. But like another monster that can stun a lot is the Dark Griffin. He can stun with his first skill, doesn't have a cooldown. He has an attack buff and armor break on his second skill, and he's tanky and on his third skill. So I don't think Linderman's good at all, so don't 6-star him. Next up is Lucan. Okay, so this is probably one of the worst monsters in the game at the moment, in my opinion. This one is a attack debuff. This one puts a dot and skills with defense, and this one heals himself for the amount of harmful effects. So basically it does a 30% heal in the beginning, and for every harmful effect he cleanses, it's 10% more. So pretty much you want to build him as a tank. However, he's not tanky, and he only self-heals and self-cleanses. So he's basically there not doing anything. A dot on second skill and an attack debuff on first skill is not sufficient enough to warrant him a spot on any team, so do not build him, he is food. Next up is Seal. Seal, first skill has attack debuff, second skill has a dot and a stun with 50% increased accuracy. And third skill is AoE attack rate reduction by 40%. I'm pretty positive that she's not that good. Even though third skill has 40% AoE attack bar decrease, the only place I can think of her being decent is TOA hard, but there are a lot better options out there, and by the time you want to build a TOA hard team, you probably have most of those options, like Uchi or Gildong, right? And if you really want to build her, probably either Despair, Speed HP, or Violent Speed HP. You just want to... Despair works well with third skill, and Violent works well with second. Next up is Chi-Chi. Okay, so Chi-Chi has a... First two skill is the same as the water one and the fire one, and third skill is attack heal. So this skill has an 850% multiplier. Isn't that insane? However, her base speed is 516. So you heal everyone according to the amount of damage you deal. However, you're not going to do damage, so you're not going to heal for much at all. And you need attack buff and armor break to do damage in the first place, so it's not like anything like Anival or Miyang where you just heal a flat amount. You have to do damage to the opponent, so this is a bad monster, do not build him. Okay, so we're nearly finished with the wind one. Walter, first skill lands a dot, second skill armor breaks, and the more HP you have, the more damage you do. This is by percentage, so at max HP you would do 750% multiplier, and at 0 HP you would do 400% multiplier. Third skill has a 200 times 5% multiplier, so it's 1000 in total. You would think, oh my god, this is actually pretty decent multipliers, right? This is actually not good because this thing requires armor break to do damage in the first place. If your monster is doing damage and then applying armor break to it, it's not going to do as much damage as having armor break in the first place and then doing damage to it. Plus, his base attack is 450. That's like abysmally low. That's like so low that it's lower than Chi-Chi. So while the multipliers look good on paper, don't build him. Alright, we're getting close to the end of the wind one. So for Royd, it's the first two skills is the same as Darien, and the first skill is 18% HP multiplier. Third skill is 30% of your max HP multiplier, attack bar reduction to 0, and irresistible taunt. So for this skill, what can I say for this skill? Pretty much, I feel like he's an okay replacement for Darien for Giants V10, because attack bar reduction in Giants is pretty valuable, and damage reduction, while valuable, is also, it's definitely still good, but I think I value attack bar reduction more in terms of Giants V10 at the boss stage. So he can also kind of, actually the first few stages are all AoE, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, this one does a attack bar reduction, and yeah, I think he might be decent. So 30% multiplier is also pretty decent on third skill. So yeah, that's the end of the wind one, and now we'll be moving on to the light. So we now move on to the light Natus. Let's start with Taru. Okay, so Taru's first skill, like all the imps, gets attack speed if you crit, and it's 370% multiplier. Second skill is a stun, which is 480% multiplier. The third skill is what makes him like okay. So he has the third skill is a 370% multiplier, but it ignores defense. And the extra 50% curry bonus I don't think matters that much, because you want him to have pretty decent curry in the first place. So he has a base attack of 605 when he's at 6-star max, so I don't really think he will do that much damage. So if you're looking for extremely big nukes, he's not the choice for you. However, he can probably one-shot things like Veramos, who have high defense but low amount of HP. If you want to ruin him, you want to go Rage Will, attack, crit damage, attack. Okay. Next up is Cheryl. So first two skills are nothing special. Again, glancing on the first, dot on the second. Third skill is a AoE revive that randomly revives. So yeah, besides the Light Anubis, this is the only monster that has potential to revive multiple targets. However, since it's random, it's not really worth it, so she is food in my opinion. Too random. Next up is Light Yeti. So the best place he should be used in is TOA hard. Not as your monster, but as the boss monster. Yep. He's extremely annoying because whenever an ally is attacked, you have 50% chance to counter. So you know the Wind Monkey? He has 25% chance to counter, but this monster has 50. However, his first skill does not do as much as the Wind Monkey because the Wind Monkey might stun, and the Wind Monkey has good base stats, while this one is an attack scaling slow. So second skill has a defense scaling stun, but he's not extremely good in when people want to use him. And if his second skill was a slow, then he might be a decent monster for Necro, but since it's a stun, it doesn't work on a Necro boss. It will only work as a multi-hit, so I probably wouldn't build him. But if you really have to build him for Necro, you can go Violent Revenge, defense, HP, defense, or something like that. Okay. Next up is Shamar. So first two skills are again 360% and 740%, and last skill has a 700% multiplier with a stun and attack speed slow. I think he's too squishy to be of any use, and a 1-turn stun plus attack speed slow is not anything. Well, the stun is 1 turn, the attack speed slow is 2 turns, but it's not anything that's really, well, special. So I don't think he's good, and I think he's probably the worst Hellhound, with maybe the Wind one. Charmin. Okay, so Charmin's an interesting monster. It has a first skill, has a 100% attack decrease at max skill. Second skill is a defense scaling 2-turn attack speed slow. And third skill is you don't get frozen or stunned, and the amount of heals that you get is doubled. So I've seen quite a few people use him in raid as a frontliner. He has decent HP at 8,400 for a 2-star, and his defense is 582, which is around the same as Darien, I think. If you want to ruin him for a frontline, you probably want to ruin triple revenge, defense, HP, defense, and yeah, I think he's pretty decent because attack speed slow on second and attack debuff on first, and if you revenge, you get attack debuff, which is probably the most important debuff that you want to put onto the boss. Okay, so Shushu is a light howl, and I don't think she brings much. First skill is attack bar increase of her own. Second skill is a single target cleanse plus heal, and third skill is an AoE heal. And the ally with the lowest amount of HP gets healed by 20% more. So if you have a Bella, pretty much you don't even need her because she's doesn't bring much except the heal, and Bella can seize, Bella can armor break, so she's just not really good monster at the moment. Okay, so Jansen. Alright, so this one actually has some potential. The first skill is a 370% multiplier skill that lands a dot. Okay, that's nothing special. Second skill throws 3 axes at an enemy, and for each crit you gain 15% attack bar. This one is okay for cycling your own turns, but that requires you to have a bit of crit rate. And third skill is fill up attack bar of all allies by 50%, increase 15% HP. So what you can do is this could be useful for the water elemental beast, and maybe the wind one. I'm pretty sure he's pretty decent for the water one though, but then you can kind of use Purian. They'll Period will probably do a lot more damage, and then this one has a bonus heal, which I guess is not that bad. The only thing is that he has pretty bad speed, but then again, Period has pretty bad speed as well. So, his base stats are 8,400 HP at 6-star max and 6,015 defense. So you can pretty much ruin him like triple nemesis on, or double nemesis, yeah, triple nemesis, and put him on the front line with defense HP or something like that, and then he'll probably still get a lot of turns due to the nemesis effect, and he will increase his own attack bar with second skill if he crits, and third skill increases everyone's attack bar. So that makes it so that he can kind of mitigate the amount of damage that the water beast can do to the raid, because the water beast reduces everyone's maximum HP, and the only way you can counter that is getting an attack bar. For PvP, he's definitely worse than Purian, because Purian is just better, because Purian does more damage and Purian has a crit rate buff. Well, this one's 15 heal isn't too much if you want to use him in a wombo combo setting. Alright, we're finding our last group of Nat 2s. So the amount of Nat 2s that the Dark One has is a lot less than the first few, so pretty much we'll be done with this pretty soon. Alright, so let's get straight into it. Soren, first skill is 120 times 3, second skill is 340 times 2, and last skill is 700% multiplier. She has a base attack of 615, and pretty much I don't think she's worth it, because landing a glancing hit for 3 turns is pretty much nothing. Plus low base attack, even with 700% multiplier, would not do much damage. If you really want to use her, probably Violent will attack with damage attack. Garrock, the Dark Imp, 300% multiplier on the first skill, 485% on the second skill, and apparently he drops 1 speed when he awakens, because he has 113 at unawakened and 112 awakened. Fun fact. His base attack is 725 and his base HP is 7,410. But I don't think he's worth it either, because if you look at the passive Massacre, the amount of damage you do increases when the target enemies HP decreases. So what happens is when the target has 100% HP, you just do normal damage. But when the target has 1 HP, you'll do a lot more damage. But then why do you need to do a lot more damage to a 1 HP target if you can just straight up nuke the opponent at 100% HP? Do you see what I mean? Maybe for tank killing, but I don't think it's necessary at all either. So in my opinion, he is food. Next up is Cameron. So Cameron, first skill is the same as all the pixies, which has a glancing. Second skill is AoE slow, and finally last skill has a 690% multiplier. Her base attack is 703 and her base HP is 7,410. But you see the problem with this third attack is that it recovers 50% of the damage you inflicted. That means you have to have attack buff and armor break, and you have to be at not 100% health in order for the healing to even take effect. So pretty much this is useless, and I do not recommend building her. Next up is Gorgo. Alright, this is a pretty decent monster. So the first skill is the same as all Warbears with a 15% HP max HP multiplier. Second skill is 20% max HP, and third skill is 40% max HP. However, since you can crit, you can do a lot more damage than just 40% for maximum HP. So let's take an example. Let's say you have 30k HP, and then basically what this one does is 12k without taking effect into crit rate and crit damage and armor break. So if you have armor break on the opponent and crit damage, pretty high crit damage, and you crit, you will do a lot of damage. And the thing is, this thing also has 70% crit rate bonus, so you can choose to kind of either A, stack crit damage and then get 30% crit rate, and so that you only use this spell to do damage. Second one is you can find high crit rate and then you can do more damage on the first 2 skills as well. but I think his signature move is definitely the third skill, and I think it's a pretty decent skill. You also get a stun if you crit, so yeah, it's free stun. Also, one thing to mention is that he has 11,205 maximum HP at 6-star max, which is very decent for a 2-star monster. So he is pretty good, and the way I would build him is probably Rage, Will, HP, crit damage, HP. Yeah, that's how I would build him. Next up is Rizak. First 2 skill is stun on first skill and dot on second skill. Third skill, resistance and accuracy increased by 50%. So if this passive was added onto an effect of some nat 5, maybe I would think that it's a pretty decent skill, but on this monster, no. The amount of debuffs that you land is minimal in the first place, and what's the point of increasing 50% of your own resistance? I don't think he's worth it at all, so do not 6-star him. I'm not even going to talk about his runes because he's pretty bad. Alright, we're down to 2 left. The Cameron. So the Cameron's first skill is attack debuff, and the second skill is a defense scaling damage that does a dot for 3 turns. And finally, his last skill does 5% of the target's max HP whenever you do an attack to the target. Oops, sorry about that. So pretty much his passive is pretty decent for killing high HP monsters like the Water Guardian in Halls of Water, and I think he can be okay in Giant Speed 10. I'm not saying he's really good there. I think he's okay. He has anti-freeze and stun on the third skill as well, and all of his skills do maximum HP damage because of the passive. Plus attack debuff is pretty valuable, and a 3-turn dot is pretty good as well. The way I would build him for early giants or Halls of Water is triple energy, HP, HP, HP. Of course, if you can do dragons and stuff, and then you still want to build him, you can do a triple revenge, but I don't see why you would want to do that. And last monster that we are going to do for today is Cha-Cha. So first 2 skill again are pretty standard for Howls, and last skill is attacks an enemy and transfer all your harmful effects to the enemy. It has a 660% multiplier. However, I don't think it's very useful in practical usage, because if you want to use this skill to maximum potential, what you want to do is have a lot of debuffs landed on you. But then I don't see a reason why you want opponent to land debuffs on you in the first place, because a single armor break can probably just one-shot you in the first place. So I don't think she's a good monster. Alright, so that's all we have for today. Tomorrow we'll be moving on to the Fire Nat 3s. And we'll see how long we take with the Fire Nat 3s. If it takes long, we'll just finish then. And if not, we'll work on the water one, okay? Alright, that's all we have for today. Thanks guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.